Well, bowling fans, we're back. Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan is the site. The Yonan Memorial. This time we got the girls' finals, Joey. And a little different this year. Previous years, they bowled here at Lakeshore Lanes for the entire tournament. This year, because the tournament's just getting so big and successful, they had to move the girls' qualifying over to Odyssey Lanes in Sheboygan Falls. They had to bowl on a different lane surface, different approaches over there. And now for our Final Four, a little bit of adjustment coming off of synthetic lane surfaces with synthetic approaches to different synthetic and wood approaches.
Right, and typically on wood approaches, the slide factor will be increased, and compared to synthetics, they may adjust their sole or have to adjust their timing somewhat.
Yeah, but it's 4 young ladies out there, all quality players. I think it was the best field they've ever had yet for the Yonan Memorial Girls Finals. And of course, they paid the top spot evenly in both divisions. We're going to see another $1,000 scholarship winner out of this event.
All right, and it's anybody's match. Well, it'll be fun watching. Should be high scoring.
Absolutely. We're going to have that first match for you for the first 2 semifinals. Then we have the championship match. So we'll be back from Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan in just a moment with semifinal number 1. The PBA is back in Milwaukee with the Geico Summer Swing. 4 tournaments beginning with the PBA Badger Open and ending with the Geico Summer Swing TV tapings on June 1st and June 2nd. Watch the best bowlers in the world or bowl with them in one of the 3 Geico Summer Swing Pro-Am events. You can receive information on the Pro-Ams or purchase your tickets for the TV tapings at pba.com. Lakeshore Lanes features 24 synthetic AMF lanes with the latest in automatic scoring and bumper bowling on all lanes. Strike Bar and Grill has one of Sheboygan's best kept secrets in their Friday night fish fry, while the Windjammer Banquet Hall can handle any of your party needs up to 275 people. Stop in and come see why Lakeshore Lanes is the best bowling center in Sheboygan. Semi-final number 1 from the Yonan Memorial here at Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan. We've got a familiar face on the TV here, Joey, with Amanda Garavet.
The little firefly. Didn't she win 2 years ago?
She won here 2 years ago. She's won a couple other U Challenge Series events as well. But yeah, she was the 2011 champion. First year we were up here in Sheboygan.
At age 14.
And still improving. Her team this year won the high school state tournament that was held in Wausau, and a ring 10.
Opening shot, no jitters on that.
No, that was pretty good there. You throw much better than that. That's pretty good.
Oh, once again, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention Brunswick Pro staffer Tom Smallwood joining us again on the commentary for this show. Sorry I forgot you there, Tom, but thanks again for joining us.
It's all right. I'm easily forgotten.
We have that kind of personality. We're just kind of under the radar, easily forgettable, and a perfect spare conversion for Amanda.
And now we got Sara Michalowicz up here from Bloomingdale, Illinois. Bowls at Brunswick's own Glendale Heights down there. Her first TV shot ever. She's bowled a couple of U-Challenge events, and this is her first show.
But no stranger to the game. Began bowling at age 4 and being at 19 years of age, a 15-year veteran. Now you know that ball she's throwing there, the original Nexus Solid.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite balls of all time. I still have 4 or 5 that I bring with me everywhere I go.
And again, first shot ever on TV, opening shot jitters. You don't want to miss right, so you kind of fit it a little bit. We'll see if she can rebound from that. You remember your first shot ever on TV?
I don't remember what it was. I think I 2-pinned, I think. It wasn't a very good game. I think I shot 170 my first game ever. Handed Jason Belmonte a free win.
A much better spare. And that's pretty nice off her hand Phil.
Yeah, exactly. You got to approach that a little different because you have to make sure you hit that 1-3 light enough so you get the ball to either deflect into the 6 or have the 3 hit the 6.
All right, so from your first shot being a little pinchy, squeezy, left of target, you need to open it up and trust it. That's not an easy task.
A big, deep breath, I think, is in order on the approach. Usually helps for me, but then again, I'm back here, and they're the ones out on the lanes doing this.
Definitely taking her time on the approach.
Yeah, they do have that 30-second shot clock in play, just like they had in the boys' matches. So once the ball comes back off the ball return, if they're the ones that are up 2 consecutive frames, they have to be in motion on the approach after 30 seconds. The first time is a warning. It would be given by tournament director Keith Yonan, and the second time would be a 0 for the frame.
And that is a rather stiff penalty. 0.
0 is hard to get back.
No. What does a bowler do in this shot here? I mean, that shot looked good off her hand, yet it's 5.
Yeah, and it might have been a little tentative too. The first shot she missed left, so she probably forced it a little right and didn't quite get through it. And it's a bucket, and he's unfortunately the 7-pin with it. And she really makes a good chance. Shot at spare and another bad break and don't cover it.
All right, 2 bad breaks, and you got an open, and you got 24 in the second. I mean, that's digging a kind of an early hole. But it is a 10-frame match, so we can't base everything win or loss off 1 frame.
It's one of those score combinations you don't see very often in the second frame, though, Joey, with 24. Really, Amanda, I've noticed the last couple of times she's been on TV, she's really worked on just extending that follow-through, but staying real soft-handed with it on the bottom while doing that.
And she's always been an aggressive player. I mean, we liked that about her 2 years ago in that she attacked and she took the match to her opponent as opposed to letting it come to her. She attacked. And that's part of bowling, Tom. Do you consider yourself an offensive player or defensive?
I'm definitely more offensive. You always want the ball in your hand when you have a chance to win or anything like that. So I think it's kind of your attitude you have to kind of be a shot maker when you need it.
Crept up a little high on that. Nice break to leave just the 4-7.
Now, again, these first few frames, I think, are just the jitter frames. Get them out of the way, and then you can settle down and hopefully finish off the game big. But it's hard to get relaxed and comfortable. I mean, comfort is the main thing.
Yeah, it's really hard. You're not throwing good shots because you're nervous, and then when you throw it good, it's hard to actually tell you threw it good when you're so nervous. It's hard to even know. It's just, that's probably just more jitters there than anything.
So she'll still maintain a lead unless Sarah gets a double in her 3rd and 4th frames.
Now, Phil, the girls are playing on the exact same pattern the boys did?
Yeah, the World 10-Pin Bowling Association Soul pattern. It's a 39-foot pattern, 2.5 to 1 ratio approximately, and yeah, it's tougher. I think Tom mentioned in the last show, it's tougher than a lot of stuff he sees on tour.
Yeah, for sure. It's scoring pace to show. I mean, to watch it was tough all day. Sparing was a premium. That's a better shot. And a strike. Very nice.
Now, as Joey, as we mentioned in the opening, they were at Odyssey Lanes all day for their part of the tournament before returning here to Lakeshore for the TV finals, and they had Pro Anvil Lane with for the lane and the approaches here. It's wood approaches and AMF HPL. So HPL, I believe, hooks Tom a couple of boards more than Pro Lane.
You'll probably get 2 to 3 boards stronger on HPL. It's a little tackier surface than the Avalane.
So I bet you the girls don't mind seeing a little bit more hook here, though, a board or 2.
That's left. Right, left off the hand, and not left enough where she could carry the crossover, but leaves herself a makeable split.
Baby split got to be about 75% for bowlers of this caliber out here, even on a condition like this, because most of the bowlers, as you see, she goes for a polyester ball. They always go to take that lane out of play.
What's your percentage on this split, Tom? On tour, in league, say?
I'd probably be around that 75% to 80%.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's. I'd probably make that more out to make the 3-6-10. That's like my nemesis.
And of course, as soon as we start talking statistics again, Joey, it comes up and bites us in the backside.
Again, you got to look at the environment they're on too. This is not open player league. I mean, the shots tend to be more important. And again, I think your swing just isn't as loose as you want it to be early.
Correct, especially she didn't seem to be very lined up so far. So, don't really control. I don't have much control of the lane, so it's a little more pressure on yourself. Even if there was lights weren't even on, if you don't have control of the lane, it's hard to throw good shots, and it puts you a little more pressure on you even. Then you add the lights on top of that, it makes it very hard to throw a good shot.
And that I thought was a really good shot off her hand, and she pays the maximum penalty with a very difficult split.
Yeah, that's 4 quality shots in a row for her, and she's most likely going to have 2 opens out of the first 4 frames.
Now, is it me, or does that 4-9 split look wider than normal?
It does, actually. I don't know.
It really does.
Yeah.
And that's, not a bad attempt at it, but a couple back-to-back opens.
4-pin lead for Amanda. Lead's still there for her. Amanda had to work her way through. She didn't receive any buys in match play. Her first round match she got by Kristen Sturm, and then their second round match, a familiar name, Erin Michaelfelder for us up here,
sure,
who's going to the Intercollegiate Singles Championships this year and was #1 seed coming out. Amanda got by her with 442 to 344, and then to beat high school state champ Amanda Van Dyne, and did that 364 to 327.
A little right at target.
Yeah, a little right at target.
And it just didn't quite make that corner. But again, not a horrible shot, but
No,
a tough spare.
It really is. It's first 4 shots were really good. Now that was a tiny bit off, and you get 7 count. So it shows a little bit how demanding this pattern really is.
So what do bowlers have to do in this environment? Just wait it out and hope the shot gets better, or just focus more, or what, Tom?
Yeah, it's wait it out and just get in straight grind mode. You really are. You're just thinking and just spare them to death. In the boys' matches, obviously, we saw that they actually threw some strikes and some big scores, and you wouldn't have seen it, but you just got to think your opponent's going to shoot 190 at most and try to outgrind them, figure a double somewhere and try to figure that out.
Yeah, let's see if the bowlers can figure it out. We're going to take the break for this match right here. We're going to come back with Sarah's 5th frame from Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan, the opening semifinal of the Sean Yonan Memorial Girls Finals in just a moment, so make sure you stay tuned. We're back, the second half of our opening match here for the girls' finals, the Sean Yonan Memorial Tournament at Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan. The $1,000 first place prize on top again, Joey. Probably the best field. I'm looking at the bracket that Keith Yonan, tournament director, gave us going in, and I'll tell you what, Sarah had her work cut out for her as well. Had to go through some big names with Steph Sisliowicz. And Sarah, it's just amazing what they have to do to get to this final and try to win that $1,000, let alone bowl on TV.
It's not an easy path to get to this place right here. That was not a bad shot off her hand. I thought it was a little right, but it made the corner.
Yeah. And that's what you get from throwing the ball a little bit more surface on it, too. You kind of starts a little earlier and creates that little right. You can actually get it back a little more.
So did you tend to sacrifice a little back-end motion when the ball starts up a little sooner?
Yeah, you're just trying to control the 1-3 any way you can. And I've always had a theory: it's a lot easier to hit your break point at 30 feet than it is at 40. So closer you can get your break point to you, the easier it is to control lane. You might lose a little hit, but on conditions like this, you don't mind losing hit if you can control the pocket.
She takes out her Batman Visiball. All over that 10-pin. Goes nicely with her shirt.
I don't know if she did that on purpose, if she has a spare ball for every shirt she has or not, but if so, it works.
I mean, she may be a Pittsburgh Steelers fan with the yellow, white, and black color scheme going, but let's hope she doesn't have to use that spare ball much more often here.
But that spare did get her into the lead, assuming she gets a pretty good count on this ball.
A 7-pin lead if she strikes here.
Sarah likes music and watching movies when she's not on the lanes throwing strikes like that.
That was a beautiful shot off her hand, and just a little better release on that, you think,
A little better
Tom?
release, a little more aggressive at the bottom, and yeah, definitely got down the lane cleaner and made the right move.
Well, Amanda Garavet up again. Wanted to make sure she thanked her mom, Bianca, dad, Jim, for taking her to all the tournaments around. Yeah, Amanda, you see a youth tournament around, and she's usually at it thanks to her mom and dad, no doubt about that. Singing, saxophone, guitar, and a musical. And when does she have time to bowl, Joey, looking at all those outside interests?
I'm seeing that. And I don't see boys on there as an outside interest, so that's what I was hoping my daughters would be like when they were teenagers. But
yeah, singing, saxophone, guitar, and a musical dance. Yeah,
it's very well-rounded.
A lot of talent out there beyond bowling. She's gonna need to do a little dance around this 2-8 here to pick them both up.
Yeah, this is no gimme here. Typically, Tom, how do you adjust to make this 2-8 off your strike line?
It's 3 or 4 right, not many with my eyes generally, but usually it's just feel the lane. You know, I attack it from playing a little further right if the condition control like allows it, like it does today. 39 foot, you know, you're going to try to play around 8 break point and just try to get, you know, hook and stop, roll it more, and hopefully it stops to the 2-8.
So with that spare, leaves her down 7 pins to Sara Michalowicz. Amanda yet to strike on lane 5. Got it there. Got it done.
And the Phil Brylow jinx
is over.
Perfectly there.
Maybe it's over.
That. She's going to show you.
Is it ever over for me, though? I don't know. We've both had our share of them over the years.
Well, again, we have a 7-pin match and 3 important frames coming up for each girl. Well, 4.
Yeah, 4 for Sara here.
And 3 for Amanda.
But this is a lead extender for her, working on that 6th frame strike. Can take it out to 17.
10-pin last time on this lane on what I thought was a good shot off her hand.
It was a quality shot. She has back-to-back really good shots.
That's left.
Left and stops.
And that held more than I thought it was going to hold, so she's happy with 9.
Yeah, that's a pretty good shot. I mean, that's 3 pretty quality shots in a row. It's just the fact I think the girls are starting to calm down a little bit and get more into bowling again instead of just the nerves going away.
I mean, the ladies had 10 minutes of practice as a group before they came out here. Could they already be experiencing, you know, some breakdown of the pattern already, Tom, with even just after that practice and now getting into this match?
I would think more of a carry down. Generally, it goes down the lane first, and then it starts breaking down. And you know, I bowled here yesterday a little bit, and they seem to hold up very, very well. So I think it's more just the carry down more than the actual breakdown.
So the lanes can get tighter as they play initially, you're saying, so you may move right with your feet in target initially and then eventually chase it inside a little bit, moving left?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with all the equipment now these days, it generally does. Your first half game to a game, the oil's going down lane, and then you square up a little bit, and then it starts breaking down, and then it's the normal, the 2-and-1s, 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 to chase it left.
That's a good shot off her hand. Firm, but evidently not over the correct target, but it looked like a nice aggressive shot.
Yeah, a little at the bottom. She's just missed a little right at her target, and not in this condition, you don't really have no room to play.
Yeah, and those pins that count, you get another shot like that out there, you get a 6 count. If Amanda keeps marking, you know, 6 count again could give Amanda the lead, working on spares.
And she stays with her strike ball for the spare attempt, which even on a 1-2-4-8 is a good call, don't you think, Tom?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not an easy spare anyway. Look at it. You're trying to hit the head pin the first shot. It makes it a little hard to shoot, but yeah, it's hard to go hard and straight at that, especially the sleeper there.
I noticed some of the PBA players, when they leave a bucket, they opt for a spare ball, even on a dinner bucket where there's that back pin.
Yeah, it's just if they have control of the pocket, they believe they have control of the pocket. It's a lot easier to throw your strike shot at it and hook at it. But when they're a little tougher, and you don't feel you have full control of the pocket. Hard and straight, you know off your hand if you made it or not. It's one of those things. Oh.
Well, I'll tell you, from my vantage point from behind, it appeared as though Amanda played that a little further left with feet in target and had a good look until it got there, and just kind of a double tap.
Yeah.
5-pin went in front of the 7.
Yep, just one of those bad breaks, really. It's, you know, 95 times out of 100, you leave only one of the 2, or you strike, and leaving both of them there, it's.
Now that takes a little out of you. I don't care who you are, but when you're on a strike and you throw a good shot and you pay with an obvious open.
In a situation where if you throw a double there in an 8th and 9th, you almost close your opponent out.
The old 31-pin swing, Joey.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, it's the game is not always friendly to us. It can be very cruel at times, and it's how bowlers rebound.
Both bowlers' max scores in the 170 here if they can strike out.
I mean, and that was basically the same shot as the frame before. In fact, not even as solid in the pocket, and it carries a strike.
Sometimes there's no real rhyme or reason.
Well, we know life's not fair. Why would bowling be fair?
That's true.
Sara Michalowicz up. Can shoot 176. Whatever she does here, Amanda would have to beat by 3 pins in order to get a tie, beat by 4 for a win.
Yeah, this is anybody's game right now, Phil.
Left a 4-pin last time on this lane and kind of like a mirror image shot there.
Well, you know, I mean, didn't look like she missed left on that, but I mean, well, how do you explain that one, Tom? That was a good shot.
That was pretty good. You know,
Yeah.
it might have been a little slightly inside target, but with, you know, we were talking about earlier, you miss one right, your next shot's not going right again. So it's a little mental correction that you're not even trying to do. And but no, that's a pretty good shot.
And is that human nature? When you leave a 1-2-4, the last thing you want to do is leave another 1-2-4?
Absolutely. The best bowlers in the world do it. Everyone does it. Even when you're trying not to compensate for it, it's just a little mental thing that happens.
Sometimes that erase button on the back of your brain doesn't always want to go all the way in to get rid of that last frame or two. I know last night in the Pro-Am I had that same issue, Joey. I left the righty or the lefty version of the 1-2-4 for somebody. They weren't too happy with me.
So we get a 3-pin match, 1 frame to go.
This is the biggest shot of the game right here.
So what do you do in this situation? Do you try and just throw a careful shot, a good shot, or do you go all out?
You try to throw a double in 10th and make her a double.
Looks good off the hand, and it kind of crept up high. I mean, it didn't look left from here.
No, I think she moved her feet a little right, targets everything right, and it just went a little early.
But a spare here is still huge.
Yeah,
Forces your opponent to mark.
Yeah, the 8 count there kept her lead by 1 pin and count. So 8 spare strike here would make her opponent to the first 1 in 10.
Yeah, if she goes 8 spare strike 154, Amanda would have to get the first strike in the 10th to get by her. Otherwise, Amanda would go straight spare strike. It's 153. Oh wow!
That's about as bad a break as you can get in that situation. And
So it's a spare. But
I mean, and the bad breaks seem to be evening out. Amanda with her pocket 7-10, and now Sarah with an untimely chop.
Yeah, any mark for Amanda does it because a 9 out would be a 141.
That's a good shot. And
wow.
A bad break. I mean, that was an aggressive shot.
very aggressive shot. Looked like in the right part of the lane. Looked like she got to at the bottom. It just didn't hook.
Right. I mean, again, it wasn't an errant shot right. It was just the ball just didn't read the pattern as quickly as she needed
carry
it to.
down. It happens. And it's one of those things you throw shiny balls on. When it's carrying down, it just they don't want to read down lane a little bit. Still has a chance here. I mean, this is definitely a makeable spare.
Well, she does have to go for it. That's got a chance.
Oh.
And a heartbreaking miss and a 4-pin loss.
Sara Michalowicz is going to advance with a 143 to 139 victory. A little lower scoring than I thought we were going to see for our opening match here. Let's see if we can turn that scoring pace around in semifinal number 2 between Danielle Weyker and Stephanie Schwartz. And we'll be back with that from Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan in just a moment, so make sure you stay tuned. I have a lot of viewers that ask me, why do you have so many of your tournaments at Castle Lanes? Well, Castle Lanes is a center that has an exceptional atmosphere. The charm of being in the Northwoods cabin while you bowl, an attentive staff on the lanes and in the lounge, all the big screen TVs and a free Wi-Fi hotspot, and being named in Bowler's Journal as one of the 95 places to bowl before you die, you have to bowl at Castle Lanes. That's why we love Castle Lanes, and you will too. That is Van McNeil.
Yes.
Van McNeil from the Spare Time Bowling Show. What are you doing here practicing so late on a Thursday night, Van?
PBA, Geico, Summer Swing.
Oh, that's right. You're getting ready to bowl that. Absolutely.
Yes. And
So, hey, might we tag along for a little while here, see how you're doing, getting to the big show in May?
you want to follow along through the journey? Is that what you're asking?
I think we're going to follow along through the journey. I think we should do that on the Time Warner Sports Bowling Shows, and I think we can do that on the Spare Time Bowling Show website as well, can't we?
It's going to be an adventure. I hope you're ready.
Absolutely. So, hey, join Van the Man McNeil, myself, Phil Brylow, and everybody else that's going to be along in this journey for the road to the summer swing. Thanks to our friends at the Spare Time Bowling Show and 99 WMYX. Providing premier equipment sales and services to Wisconsin bowlers since 1973. Check out our Wall of Fame and our current specials at bpsmilwaukee.com. Back at Lakeshore Lanes, semifinal number 2 of the Sean Yonan Memorial starts with a handshake. We've got our opponents coming out here, Danielle Weyker and Stephanie Schwartz, and we've got Danielle Weyker starting on lane 5 here, and pretty good resumes on both these young bowlers, Joey.
Well, without question. And Danielle, I would have to chalk up as the experienced player of the match here at age 20, attending Viterbo University in lacrosse. And again, a 16-year bowling veteran, high series 749, high game of 299.
And the first year we televised the Sean Yonan here back in 2011, she was one of the semifinalists.
And a great opening shot, and carries the Wally on the first shot.
Always helps to throw the reverse one mediocre and still strike. It's pretty good.
And if there was a high school bowler of the year so far this year, Joey, just from all kinds of tournaments around the area, and some, you'd have to go, off the top of my head, I'd have to go with Stephanie Schwartz.
Without question, 16 years of age, and again, 300 high games, 796 high series, but this girl can strap it.
Actually,
right down 7-8.
Actually, like her strategy too, playing her up the lane like that. There's that little tiny bump out to the right that no one's really used too much, except well, actually no one's really used yet. And obviously you saw her matches. She shot 450 a few times, would have beat all the guys. So obviously she's in the right part of the lane and know what she's doing.
So is it her roll on the ball that allows her to play out there, or her swing plane?
Yeah, I definitely think it's swing plane. It's more online, and not everyone has the perfect online swing. It's kind of hard to do that. We're not all the Walter Rays of the world.
Right. So do you find it more challenging when you need to play up the boards more so than inside out?
Yeah, for sure. Even when my ball's going, when I feel my ball's going right to left, it's still going a little left to right. So, I can't really play the tug together like Walter or some of the better straight players can.
Pretty clean off the hand, and a little bit of overreaction there. Maybe a little too direct.
A little grabby at the bottom, and that's probably just a little nervous.
Right, and again, the opening frames, I always feel you got to get them out of the way, and hopefully with not much damage.
Exactly. You're just trying to get your own way for the first few shots.
So she's going to move cross lane for the spare. Get them both with the ball. No problem. I'm going to correct myself a little bit here because I just remembered Stephanie has been bowling a lot with Mandy Van Dyne. They've been going to a lot of tournaments head-to-head, and they're almost 50-50 this year. And Mandy just missed the show by being beaten out by Amanda Garavet, who we saw in the last match. So Mandy almost made TV again as well. That would have been a great final match if we had both of them in there.
Well, it would have been, but I think we have a pretty good matchup right here.
No doubt about that.
Good shot off the hand, and a great result down lane. That's huge. Opening double.
Yeah, and I think we've seen her right lane play a little tighter anyway, and that was absolutely perfect. Her last shot was probably 4 to 5 further right, and it still got back in the stroke. So if she has that kind of room, you can see her actually put some numbers up.
And using probably one of your favorite pieces there, the Brunswick Pearl.
The Brunswick Triple X, yeah, that's one of those balls you get in and wheel with it. So.
You think she's got the right surface on there for her rev rate and speed?
Close. It looks a little shinier than I'd think, but seeing all these kids throw a little bit shinier balls than I think they'd use on a 39-foot pattern. You're going to deal with so much carry down and break down. A little surface just smooths the whole ball out and smooths the whole lane out. But what do I know? They're averaging like 220, and I'd probably be averaging 185. So it's kind of hard to say they're not doing the right thing.
And we did see the left lane hook up a little bit quicker and stronger than the right. So we'll see what kind of adjustments she makes. First got to make the spare.
Yeah, and it actually moved a little bit, so it's a little bit further apart.
Yeah, might not have mattered, but again, an open is an open. You can quote me on that.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that ball actually, I know there isn't a ton of oil in the middle, not like a league puddle, but it kind of surprised me there's still continuation all the way past to the 3-pin.
But a one-board miss when you're throwing a spare ball across the lane can turn into a 3-board miss down lane.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right down
It's a great
7.
shot.
Yeah, that's her wheelhouse right there. And that's definitely a little further right than where her opening shot was on this lane.
A few weeks back, we got to see Steph in the Top Gun finals from Sherwood High School, and I know she wasn't happy with her performance there because she came out and shot a 154 game and had some problems with carrying every other frame out there, and I know she wants a little redemption. She knows she's better than that 154 she showed last time out. Of course, she does have 3 consecutive U Challenge titles to her credit, and the only other bowler that's ever done that, familiar to you, Joey, Alyssa Pearson.
Great shot there for her first double of the match.
Just 10 straight back in the pit. You gotta love those close-up replays that we get on that pin cam down there.
And speaking of Alyssa Pearson, she was here today, correct?
Yes, she was. I believe she made the match play bracket, and she was knocked out early. So, yeah, she was knocked out by Brittany Morton, who was a past champion of this event as well.
Yeah, 418 to 371, losing that match.
And then Brittany moved on to bowl Danielle Weyker right here, and Danielle beat Brittany to get to the TV show.
A
And
little bit right on the tighter lane, and we could just see it kind of hesitate making that corner. So, do you think she's aware that the right lane is tighter than the left?
She maybe. She had 5 minutes of practice on it, but it's still kind of hard when the nerves are going and tell yourself it's not you, it's the lanes.
you see all these good bowlers out there. They move cross lane for these corner pins, polyester balls, and no problem covering that up.
Right, and I mean, golfers use putters for a reason, and bowlers should use spare balls for a reason, unless you're just uber skilled in changing your release to deaden that ball.
Yeah, which there isn't too many bowlers even on tour that don't have a spare ball, or at least a favorite feeling bowling ball to throw hard and straight at them.
So do you use urethane or plastic yourself?
I use urethane. I flatten my wrist completely out though, and my ball don't hook at all. So I can throw any ball as long as it fits my thumb the right way. I've never really used plastic. Just in fact, I've always thought it was a waste of a ball in my bag. Seeing the fact I can flatten my hand out.
And just a little bit past that 2-pin there, could have came back up and maybe gotten the head pin off the wall to take it out.
And again, if we look back at the last shot on that lane, she definitely came high, and the ball read a little early, so she may have made an adjustment.
See what she does here, getting this spare going into the commercial break. Shouldn't have too much of a problem covering it up. And of course,
You say that?
I jinxed it up. We're going to take a short break at this time. We're going to come back in just a moment with the rest of this match from Lakeshore Lanes to Sheboygan in just a moment. Make sure you stay tuned. Second semifinal from Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan, the Yonan Memorial Girls Finals. And Joey, we got Stephanie Schwartz working on a double here in the 3rd and 4th frames, and
She is about to take control of the match if she can throw this one here for a turkey. Right down board 7.
Yep, pretty good shot. Oh,
Very good shot, not a great break, but 9 spare she has to be happy with at this point.
hey, watching the replay, it's just kind of, you watch the 5 and the 4 just don't do their job out there getting that 7 out.
Cross lane with the spare ball, no problem. And I noticed in practice, she was practicing her spares.
yeah, which is a little odd. Our first 3 or 4 shots were going across the alley at spares, and I think that's kind of an important thing that people really don't do, which I don't always do. I try to feel comfortable with a strike ball first and think, well, spares are always going to make them, but you never know. It takes a little while. Your thumb fitting right in your thumb, in your spare ball and everything too.
Right, and you need to get a feel of how much volume is in the center of the lane for when you're going cross lane and she carries the messenger. That was a big shot.
Yeah, watch that messenger come back across the lane, do nothing but damage to that 10 pin, and really extends that lead out right now. She's up by 17 pins.
And I mean, doesn't that send a message to your opponent? I mean,
yeah, especially when you're struggling a little bit. You know, she's missed a couple spares here, so it's just added pressure. I mean, you're already in a pressure situation. It adds pressure, makes it harder to throw good shots when you know your opponent's pretty lined up and throwing good shots at you.
Wow.
and again, I think that lane is a little tricky, and it could be the surface on the ball being a little too much skid when she's going away and a little too early of a read when she's direct. Because that looked like a good shot off her hand.
Yeah, that was pretty good after last shot went a little light, and that was a pretty good adjustment. And you know, just a 4-7, a little bit high, but still a quality shot. But yeah, it's one of those things where surface makes a huge difference. You get a ball with a little more surface on it, it starts a little quicker, and you create a little bit of right or a little bit of left, one or two. And it's hard when you don't feel you have zero either way. But you know, if you always know if you have one or the other, a little bit of right or a little bit of left, you know, it's easier to throw a good shot.
So how do bowlers learn that? How do they learn surface prep? Through experimentation?
Yeah, it's practice, and the more you bowl in certain conditions, you know, you can remember back at a certain time that you bowled on this or that, and this worked and this didn't work. And you know, basically, whenever you see your ball not pick up where you want it to, you need an adjustment, either maybe a shinier ball or a duller ball, just to make it pick up where you want it to pick up. And it's just recognizing faster, which can get you, you know, another 20 pins in a game, which on, you know, on one of these shows, it could be a win or loss, or in a tournament could make a cut or not make a cut.
Right. Or do you think when the condition plays tricky or the lane appears to be very, very finicky, could that just be a simple surface change and you're...
Absolutely. I think most pros, I think they change the surface of their bowling ball more than they do actually changing bowling balls. You don't see one pro without Cerar pads in their bag.
If Stephanie can strike here, she can get this lead extended out to 34 pins. And that's a real hard one there, Joey.
That's 10 in the pit. Using an old school ball with a storm high road, but again, she does have a little bit of knockdown surface on it to kind of eliminate that over skid or over grab that a polished ball can sometimes give.
Yeah, that also, a low pin in a hole, it makes it start a little quicker too, and maybe you're just trying to control the lane.
Yeah. And of course, when you got a pro shop guy like Lenny Borst down at Bowler's Choice Pro Shop in Racine to help you out with equipment choices, I mean, there's guys in Wisconsin. There's you, Joey, I've gone to for years. There's guys like Lenny that are absolutely phenomenal out there as well. And you guys were just talking about surface choices. Talk to your pro shop guy about what surfaces you need on your bowling balls. They're always a great reference for you.
Right. I mean, I think, Tom, I'm a firm believer that the correct surface on the ball is more important than the proper ball to match up to the pattern.
Absolutely. I mean, you're controlling your break point only, and surface is probably 60% of your ball reaction. Or if not more, maybe 70, 75. So yeah, it's getting that race on the bowling ball, make the ball read the right part of the lane to give you the most room for error. Basically what you're trying to do is always try and create the most room for error. And obviously, the tougher conditions, the less you're going to have, but you still can create a little error. And very nice shot there.
That's about as pretty as you can throw the ball right there.
Yeah, you watch the replay on that one. The 6-pin going around the 10, just getting the 10 pin out, head of the 6-pin hits the 10, and still leaves herself within range. It's 33 pins, but she can still strike out for 213.
Well, with only 2 frames left, this turns into a must-strike situation.
Yeah, Steph's pace here, she's at 216 pace. So, as you said, Joey, it's a must.
Oh. Great back-to-back shots. So it gives her a chance. You know, you never know. Spare with bad count. She can actually throw a double in the 10th and win.
Yeah, that 8-pin tried to tease her in a bad way right there, too, as being the last one off the deck. I always hate when you get that. It just kind of stares back at you and makes your heart stop for a second.
Well, both girls with 2 doubles, but again, Stephanie, no opens, and Danielle, 2 opens. And that's the difference in the match right now. And then Stephanie gets away with 1.
So keeps herself clean, 176. If she goes spare strike, that's 216. That would be enough to win.
That's a huge cross.
So a mark is a must here and a good count.
Gaining the count there.
And wasting
I'm sure
no
if
time.
we could let Stephanie take that over, she would. You know, no one wants to win with an Aaron Chet, but there was a much better shot. Not a great result, but she avoided the 2-8-10.
Yes. And that was one of those ones you correct yourself. You miss left, and that one's going to go a little right.
Right. And you know, we were saying earlier that 5 is hooking a little more than 6. Or I'm sorry, yeah, 5 than 6. Yet from outside, it might be the opposite.
Yeah, it might not be the same on the outside lane. It's the first time we've seen it all day.
So a spare here, and 8 pins would guarantee her moving to the championship match against Sara Michalowicz.
Great spare.
That's almost the hard part sometimes, knowing that you need, because you got the spare, now knowing you need to get 8 on that fill ball in the 10th frame. Sometimes the jitters and nerves can come into play.
It's not supposed to be easy, Phil.
No, this game never is. That's why I've pretty much retired and just gotten behind a microphone. It's a lot easier to watch. It's a lot less nerve-wracking, too, on my end. Needs 8 to get to the finals, and no better way to do it.
One easy way to get it.
Yeah.
Just power pack it right through the 1-3. And I'll tell you, that 216 was an awfully good 216.
Yeah, that's solid. She never missed a spare. Kept it in play every shot. That's going to win most matches.
So Danielle wanted to thank her mom, Pam, and her dad, Bruce, while she was out here again, and also wanted to thank, all the way back to her high school days, her coaches, Tony and Heather Barber. And Heather Barber, a former Badger Queens champ, the first year we did the Badger Queens way back in 2008, Joey. So one of the first women's TV shows that we did. And once again, Cinco de Mayo out at New Berlin Bowl. Ladies Scratch Trios, first time we've ever done it. I think that's going to be a pretty good event.
And that could be a party time, being the 5th of May.
Exactly, a little Cinco de Mayo for the ladies.
And, you know, getting back to Danielle's shot there where she left the shaker 7, I mean, that's a pretty good shot off the hand, too.
That would have been a shame if she actually needed that shot to strike to win, because that was about as good as the last shot. But it's just, you know, you're talking 10th mile an hour ball speed, and a little too far down lane.
So it's going to be an interesting final match. We've got a bowler coming off of a 140 game with Sara. We've got Stephanie coming off a 216. Well, it's going to, who's going to, you know, find a way to battle back and come on top, or not fall apart and come out on top. And we'll talk about that. We'll come back from the break. We'll talk about what we see in practice before the championship match. So make sure to join us from Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan for that championship for the Sean Yonan Memorial Girls Finals in just a moment. The PBA is back in Milwaukee with the Geico Summer Swing. 4 tournaments beginning with the PBA Badger Open and ending with the Geico Summer Swing TV tapings on June 1st and June 2nd. Watch the best bowlers in the world or bowl with them in one of the 3 Geico Summer Swing Pro-Am events. You can receive information on the Pro-Ams or purchase your tickets for the TV tapings at pba.com. Well, the big event always the night before the Sean Yonan Memorial Tournament itself is the Sean Yonan Pro-Am. Lots of fun had. It's open to anybody. Teams get together, families, friends, reunions even on some people. Great time for everybody. You see some kids bowling there, bowling the next day. You see some parents bowling with the kids. As you can hear by the crowd, fun had by all. And celebrities even get a chance to get out there and throw a few strikes with the teams. We're going to go around and ask some people, why do they bowl the Sean Yonan Celebrity Pro-Am? So why are you here bowling tonight?
Because it's for a great cause and we're helping the kids out.
Have fun.
That too.
How can you bowl the Sean Yonan Pro-Am?
Because I love the Yonans.
Because it is the best tournament of the year.
How come you're bowling the Sean Yonan Pro-Am tonight?
Oh, because it's one of my favorite tournaments all year.
So why are you here bowling the Sean Yonan Pro-Am?
Because I got asked to at the last minute. Best news I had all day.
And you got to show up your kid, right?
Well, I can try, but it's not going to work right.
Who brought you here? How come you're bowling?
My idea to bowl with the girls and any friends you have, Bruce? No, there you have it.
I don't think
Here to have some fun.
Yeah, Cody's not a girl.
How come you're bowling the Sean Yonan Memorial Pro-Am tonight?
Because Keith Yonan is a very good friend of mine, and we're very close to the family, and great people, and I'm glad to support them and help them out with this.
Your best word. How can you bowl the Sean Yonan Parade?
How come?
Yeah.
We bowl it for in honor of Sean. He's was an awesome kid.
Along with the chance to bowl with PBA pro Tom Smallwood, bowlers also had a chance to have celebrity bowlers be part of their teams. How much pressure is it on every shot when you're up there?
Lots and lots of pressure.
How many opens do you have so far in 10 Baker games?
About like 86.
No, I got the 5 opens. You've seen 3 of them.
You cut me short on that. I have about like 15 opens.
It's a lot of pressure, though, being a pro, being
I don't
a celebrity out
actually
there.
have 15 opens, but it's a lot.
Yeah, so, no doubt. So what's it like being a celebrity bowler this year? Oh, no, come on. What's it like being a celebrity bowler this year?
It feels really good.
I should hope so.
What did you say?
I said, why are you bowling the Pro-Am tonight?
Support and stretch. Got to get the name out there.
So what's it like being a celebrity at the Sean Yonan Pro-Am?
I think that term is used rather loosely around here.
Well, that's why they have me way on the end.
That's why they have us hiding up there?
That's why I'm right of you.
Oh, okay, I got it
the reason
now.
why the term celebrity was created instead of pro. Last year was pros, now it's celebrity. So the only pro they got is that guy over there. That's it.
I agree.
That's the only pro. What's it like being a celebrity?
Oh, it's...
A little nerve-wracking?
Oh, absolutely. Every time I go up there, I think I got a strike. If I don't, it's, I just want to leave. I go up there, I leave a 7th, and I feel like a complete failure. I just want to give up the sport. It's terrible. All the teams are bowling for a chance to get their names on the Sean Yonan Memorial Baker Pro-Am Championship Trophy, but the evening was more than that. Thanks to the efforts of the Yonan family shown here, all their sponsors, including Brunswick, raffles that were held that night and throughout the season, and of course without the help of the Hilbert family, Bill Hilbert here, proprietor of Lakeshore Lanes, throwing a great strike, they managed to raise over $3,000 that went to the Sean Yonan Memorial Scholarship Fund the next day. We'd like to thank everyone who bowled, donated, or participated in any other way in the Sean Yonan Memorial Pro-Am event.
Let's check in on the PBA Tour with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, Van McNeil, and Dwight Albrecht. This is the Spare Time Bowling Show on Sports Radio 1250 WSSP.
Welcome back. The talk just continues throughout the break. Now we're actually talking about bowling.
This will be our 2-hour show today.
Yeah, absolutely. The special Easter edition.
Yes, that's right.
Religion up front, bowling in the back.
Correct, exactly.
In order.
As always, in case you wanted to hear the religious rant, you can always podcast the show at sportsradio1250.com. It's always there for you. Hey, how about Team LAX? Who knew they were bowling in this thing?
Yeah.
I didn't know LA had a team.
Yeah.
They showed up and they did their thing and won last week. But I go back to, what was it? I think it was the second match. Let's see. Well, yeah, the Silver Lake Adams Splitters, when they won that match. And that's Barnes' team. And we've seen them before. And if we remember correctly, Dwight's favorite uniform or the favorite jersey was the Silver Adams Splitters.
Yes, they are.
So now whenever I see my TV, I think of you.
Thank you.
Maybe I'll get you one for Christmas.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'll wear it.
Well, yeah. All right. Fair enough. Okay, so this whole deal here, how this played out, is pretty cool. Because Dave Lecca misses a 10-pin in the 8th, right? So now Silver Lake has a 10-pin lead. Belmonte strikes in the 9th. Now, again, we've talked about this before, and there is a certain bowler that doesn't think I understand the whole process of what makes an anchor bowler, and that's fine. But I'm going to tell you something. Everybody can have their different view of an anchor bowler. In my opinion, if it's Brylow, you, Van, me, and you, Dwight, on a team, Dwight, you're bowling anchor.
Without a doubt.
And
it ain't me.
Right. Without
it ain't going to be
the
him.
guy that's going to perform in the clutch.
It ain't going to be him. It's going to be you.
Yep.
Right.
Period.
Experience, guy performing the clutch, whatever you want to call it.
But if I know that you have a history of folding,
right,
then I go to the second best bowler maybe, and you bowl the 9th, right? Very intriguing to me that Belmonte bowls the 9th. Because I like Belmonte, and I know a lot of people don't, but Belmonte doesn't seem, from an egotistical standpoint, to be somebody that's willing to give up the 10th frame in order to let somebody else be that guy in the 10th frame. I mean, were you surprised by it? I was. Because when I looked at Belmonte, I'm going, well, you know he's going to be the anchor bowler. And when he wasn't, I was really taken back by that.
I think it was who has the best look also. I think they're so equal quality-wise of their games. I think whoever's just got the best look. I mean, between the four of us, there's differences in quality of games, averages of games. I mean, I think these guys are so paired out there, a lot of parity between them and the quality of the games that I think it's going to come down to who's got the best reaction.
So they end up going with Parker Bowl in the third.
Yeah.
So Belmonte strikes in the ninth, and then Parker Bowl strikes out.
Right.
So I mean, I'm not saying it was the wrong decision.
Well, that's what I was wondering.
I was just surprised by it watching it.
Strategy.
Right, because I thought going in that pretty much everybody was going to have their anchor bowler was going to be their best bowler.
Right.
The only one I had second guesses of was good old Sean Rash. Outside of that, I thought everybody else's best bowler was probably going to be there because for the most part, the rest of those guys had shown they could be. But even Weber didn't bowl anchor at one point either. I read your mind. I'm on you, Brylow. I got you. So you feeling I went out drinking last week, and now I can read them like a book. So I mean that played out. I was very interested to see how that plays out. So now that happens. So now you need Barnes to strike out.
Yeah. And there's your Mr. Clutch, right?
You're thinking Barnes.
Yeah.
That was the first ball. That was the second ball. Strike.
I went back to, oh no, he's going to choke again like he did back in the day.
See, and I didn't. I wasn't worried about it. I thought if anybody's going to do this, it's going to be Barnes.
I don't know. He had that look in his eye or something. Just something was amiss.
Van, where did he go to school?
Wichita. I know.
Wichita State, right?
I know, Wichita State.
Who's now in the Final Four.
Yeah,
by
basketball.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for because it's a bowling school. They're never going to be a basketball school in my mind.
Right.
But, so, Wichita State.
Yeah.
The problem is this wasn't live. This was all taped back in the day.
Yeah.
And I bet you Wichita State was in a funk back then because he leaves a 4-7 in the 10, and they lose.
You could see the first two shots he got a little wide, got away with the light hit.
Yep.
And then the last shot, or the 12th ball, you could clearly see he missed it left, that he pulled it left. So you knew there was not going to be much fallback.
Overthunk it.
Yeah, it could have possibly been. I mean, to me, it was just he threw a bad shot. It was, a choke, if you want to call it a choke.
Right.
Maybe he knew that the first two were a little light and that he wanted to obviously flush the last one or pure the last one, and he didn't.
Pins for our Essential Bowling Concepts telecast are provided by Great Lakes Bowling, offering services, supplies, and capital equipment to the bowling industry for over 38 years. GreatLakesBowling.com. Pick up the latest issue of Wisconsin Bowler Magazine, now available in your local bowling center. If your local center does not carry Wisconsin Bowler Magazine, ask them to. It's free to them and free to you.
The championship match from Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan for the 2013 Sean Yonan Memorial. Once again, I want to thank Keith Yonan, all his tournament staff, and the staff here at Lakeshore Lanes for all their hospitality. And Joey, we've got Sara Michalowicz starting us off on lane 5 here at Lakeshore Lanes and bouncing back off of a rough game in the semifinals.
Well, I mean, the scores were not indicative of how well the girls bowled in that match, but I mean, she's in a tough situation, I think, going up against Stephanie Schwartz, who threw a great 216, but again, she's risen to the occasion on her opening shot.
Yeah, when you run over the 8-pin, that's kind of the best statement you could make to your opponent.
All right, so hopefully she's forgetting about that first match and just focus on 10 good shots in this game. Again, we know Stephanie has a great shot from her last match. Tom and I were talking, will it hold up?
So far, so good.
Yeah.
Looks like it's holding up, Tom.
Yes, so far, yeah.
And she may just firm up her speed a little bit.
And I'm sure she has a little more she can throw a little harder and stay on top of it. And as long as she can do that, she didn't throw that many shots out there. The pattern didn't break down that fast today. So, as long as she don't get too much carry down or too much breakdown, she should be all right. And she'll be able to stay around the 1-3.
So Stephanie, want to thank her mom and dad, Ken and Kathy, getting her here today. And, of course, her brother David always bowls tournaments with her. And David, another Robert Morris in Chicago bowler.
That was a pretty shot. And, again, I don't see any trouble for Stephanie in this match unless she creates it.
Right, but I think the more play on the lane is going to help Sara a little more to carry down. And Stephanie's going to bring it down a little right of her, too. I mean, she's playing for the right. She should bring it down a little bit, create a little bit right for Sara. So her reaction should get better than it was last game also.
She's lining up with her left foot right around board 18-19. We'll see where she targets at the arrows. Right around 9-10.
9-10 with a different bowling ball than the first shot too. So.
And it didn't look like she pulled it off her hand, at least left of target, but the ball definitely read up.
Yeah, it definitely picked up a little earlier. She switched balls to a weaker ball and moved a little right on right lane, so maybe she thought that was a little better move. Didn't work out that frame there, but I mean, she'd probably get bumped another board or two left and probably be fine.
No problem on that spare. Sara wanted to thank her coach and pro shop owner Rich Gutza down at Strike Zone Pro Shop in Glendale Heights, and the best coaching support system, she calls them. And of course, got to thank the best friend Aaron Adams, our runner-up in the boys division for the Sean Yonan this year. I see Aaron hanging around back in the crowd cheering her on and trying to get her to the first place finish.
And we should comment that Sarah's bio sheet is frameable. It is by far the neatest bio sheet I've ever seen in my years of doing play-by-play with you, Phil.
Oh.
And a bad break on a blower 7-10. Second one we've seen today.
Yeah, second one on that lane today. It's a great shot, bad break. You know, you got to get one here, move on, and hopefully your opponent don't keep striking like she has been.
It is a $100 award if somebody does make a 7-10 or 4-6 7-10 on one of our Youth Challenge Series telecasts. Thanks to Essential Bowling Concepts. Doesn't bounce it out. Then I'll give her 47 in the third frame.
So still early in the match, but again, Stephanie with a double.
And we've seen Stephanie before on the show. You give her that little bit of an opening, and she's going to try to jump on it, and she's trying to come back from being the second place finisher in this event last season, and a great shot.
And we saw Stephanie kind of ask that ball to hold pocket a little bit, sit down and high hard one.
Yeah, it was slightly left of her target. It was only left of her target by half a board to a board, but yet it did hold and it did the right thing.
And her look is getting better, but I think she's also getting a little more confident from that line as well.
Yeah, she's throwing it really good. Her arm swing's on line, and she's throwing it perfect.
And a pitch out to the right.
My jinx there.
Right, as soon as you say that.
And as we saw in the semifinal match, this spare is not an easy one to pick up on this condition.
I don't think there are any easy spares anymore, Phil. I mean, I can make them all look a little challenging at times.
The 1, 2, 4, 8s, you got to make sure you don't take out the 1, 2, 8 and leave the 4 by going a little high.
The 4 and the 8 pin are the tricky ones right there, but perfectly converted right there on the crossover.
And that's going to leave her with a 29 pin lead through 3.5 frames. But I don't think we're going to see any quit in Sara, and especially after a bad break like that pocket 7-10, it's going to keep her, get her a little more focused, I think.
So she's staying with the weaker of the two balls, being a Storm Victory Road, pearlized cover.
In the same spot she did before.
Right.
So maybe she just felt she pulled a little left. That's definitely further right.
Yeah, she did not pull it, and it wasn't much further right,
No.
so that ball almost seems to make that lane play a little trickier.
Yeah, I would agree. It's a little shinier ball, a little weaker. So you're going to get a little more skid flip, which really on 39 feet, you don't really want skid flip. You want control of the lane. And she did throw a few shots in practice that rolled perfect with that ball on that lane. And it, you know, if you throw the perfect shot with whatever ball you throw, it's going to strike. So it's almost sometimes almost a bad thing to throw a great shot with the wrong ball.
But when you're trying a different ball, you almost have to try and throw it good, correct?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and that's just the thing where you start to get to know your equipment a little better and realize it's not the right, maybe not the right ball. But she threw 3 or 4 shots to strikes with that ball on that lane in practice, and it did look good when she did throw it. So maybe she just maybe she moved a little bit and maybe she's moved back.
So it makes this game so challenging. We don't always know. Is it equipment? Is it us? Is it the lane?
Yeah, the invisible obstacle out there, the oil, makes it pretty hard. You know, golf obviously, if there's a bunker, you know not to hit it. A water hazard, you can see it. You don't hit into it. But with oil, it's hard to tell what it does. I mean, it's invisible.
And it's such a trained eye you have to pick up the different subtle movements of your bowling ball when there's carry down or when the lane's breaking open a little bit. And it's such a trained eye, and I've never been the best at it by far. And I'm sure.
Tom, when you get fooled with ball reaction, do you automatically think it was the ball not being the right matchup as opposed to bowler error?
No, I'm not the most confident person in the world. I usually blame myself first. I wish it was the ball's fault more often, but usually isn't.
Well, we got a spare on the board going into the commercial break. We've got our last one of the day here from the Sean Yonan Memorial on Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan. So join us for the rest of this championship match and the $1,000 top place scholarship prize in just a moment. Make sure you stay tuned. Last half of our championship match here from Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan. Sorry to catch you guys coming out of the break there.
Well, my question to Tom was, he's stating he's not the most confident player in the world, yet you need to be the most confident player going up against the PBA's best players.
I'll tell you what, somebody's showing confidence right now. Lane 6.
Yeah, she's got it working now. I mean, she's loose. Her swing is free. She's got a great look on the lane.
I'm assuming it's a part of the lane she likes to play.
Right.
And
so she's in her A-game zone, and, I mean, she's going to be very hard to beat right here, but anything can happen.
Now, right now, 31-pin lead. Can extend it to 41 if she can double here in the 6th frame. All she wants to do here, it says in her bio sheets, make good shots, stay calm.
Another good one.
Yeah, and I don't know if that was left of target by a quarter board, but again, she's in the right spot on the lane.
Yeah.
And we might see a 276 game here if she can catch the last 5.
Yeah, she's
the last 6. That is.
She's only thrown one bad shot, and she missed by 3 right, and every other shot's been within a board and a half.
Now Sara Michalowicz up on lane 6.
She's staying with the weaker ball, the pearlized cover, and
still staying in the same spot.
We'll see if it works. That was pretty nice.
That's better.
And it kind of over flipped down lane just a touch. And not looking good.
No.
It's just those subtle little tweaks sometimes, as you talked about earlier. Little surface change, little different pin placement on a ball, and that's what keeps some of the guys from ever going on tour like you, and guys that end up learning the stuff like you have, Tom, over the years. I mean, I'm sure when you first started bowling regionals, you weren't exactly a ball expert, but now all kinds of stuff you can do with equipment.
It's all trial and error, and remembering, it's some of the stuff you bowled on in your life. And I think everyone has a trial and error, and it's just, there's no perfect solution all the time. It's your own knowledge and your own, and staying in your own ability too, and know what's going on. I mean, the best bowlers in the world aren't the best bowlers in the world because they execute better. They're the best bowlers in the world because they adjust the fastest.
Right. It's all lane recognition and knowing your game and knowing equipment. It's a complex game.
It's not really hard to figure out. If you can get one more frame a game faster than everybody else, it can be 15 pins a game. You look at any U.S. Open, 15 pins stops from 80th place to win. So it really is that big of an adjustment.
Right. And as good as Sarah's executing now, she doesn't have the right look on the lane. She'll come a little high, a little late, a little steep. And her strikes, which should be strikes, are 9s, and that's just putting her further in the hole every frame.
Still plugging away on the spares, not leaving any holes out there. I mean, last thing you want to do is just really put yourself in a bigger hole by missing in a single pin. But right now, she is down by almost 50 pins. Stephanie Schwartz can extend it to 63 pins with a strike right here. And that's not going to make it back.
Right, and not a bad shot off her hand. Maybe a half a board right at target.
Yeah, maybe a little miss at the bottom, but no, that's pretty close to target. It just shows you can't miss it hardly at all to have any chance.
And this is makeable thanks to the help of the 4-pin here.
Well, it is, and you need to hit that 2-pin very, very light, going right to left. Good bowler takes 3.
That's probably the smart move anyway at this point in time, to get 3 and move on.
Well, that knocks the lead down right now to 27 pins with that open, but she still has a maximum of 240 out there Or if Sarah were to strike out, it would be 213.
And that's what's funny with this game. I mean, she's in command, she's in control, yet she's only 27 pins up, which is not insurmountable in one frame.
And not happy with that at release either.
Suddenly,
so
slight doubt in your head, and it makes it hard to make a shot.
Yeah, and again, after coming light, the tendency is to always help it a little bit and you come high. And even if you know it's going to happen, it's hard to correct, isn't it?
You can't adjust for your own mental misses.
And there's back-to-back opens by Stephanie, and we now have a completely different match on hand. And I'm kind of glad to see it, because you don't want to see anybody shut out early in the 7th frame.
And kind of unusual with this spare, she used the polyester ball at the 3-6-9-10, trying to get the 9-pin out. It's always that tough call. What do you do? Do you make sure you get the 9 out, or try to bounce them around?
It's the same thing. If you have control of the lane, you hook at it a little bit. If you don't, you throw hard and straight.
Okay.
I felt she had control of the pocket, but maybe it might be what she always does. Just
that's not bad.
Nope.
But it didn't get the hit she wanted, and it looks like she either changed her roll a little bit on the ball so it wouldn't flip, but when it didn't flip, it didn't hit.
You're right, exactly. But I mean, she's gonna be within teens of the lead here. So 60 pins down 2 frames ago. Now she's going to be 17 down going into the 9th and 10th, which is only 1 frame.
So is it the right move to make a ball change, being her next time on this lane will be frame 10? Or is
that's so tough.
Is that too risky?
I think you try to throw the same shot as that and carry. You might move your feet aboard half board right just to get square up a little quicker, but it's hard to make that different ball change in the 10th when you need it. There's very few people confident enough to throw that shot when they need to.
So she stays with the stronger ball in the left lane. Sorry, Phil.
That's okay.
And last time on this lane, she left a 4-pin on a good shot.
So 202, Sarah's maximum right now. Stephanie's maximum 219.
Well, she got quick. Yeah, she got quick. Lost it at the bottom. No leverage, no lift, and really her first errant shot in a while. But she leaves a makeable spare.
Going to need a little help from Stephanie in the 9th, probably the 9th and a little bit in the 10th in order to get a chance to come back and win this one. Lead for Stephanie is out to 19 pins with 2 frames to go. A little interesting on the spare there, Joy.
That spare looks like a gimme, yet how close was that to missing it? And yet that's a very important spare.
Yeah. I mean, it keeps her in a match. She has a chance here. It's up to Stephanie. It's her destiny. But after a 6-3, 6-3, it's hard to throw a good shot. Even though I think she did. Good shot.
Yeah, she didn't throw a good shot. She threw a great shot.
That was a great shot. Right on line.
And it almost looked like instead of aiming, say, a board left of the previous 2-4-8-10, she moved a board right with her feet and just strapped it.
Yep, threw a little firmer and threw it up the lane.
It's so much easier to decipher what they're doing from back here than it is sometimes when you're on the approach, isn't it?
Absolutely. Every lane's easy from back here.
A mark here will get her the Sean Yonan Memorial title, and no better mark than the strike.
And she kind of knew that when she let it go.
Great shot.
Sign of a champion right there, throwing big shots when you need them.
And after 6-3, 6-3, throw double like that, that was pretty good.
And a monkey off her back, because last year against Morgan O'Brien, who we've known is a very tough competitor, junior Team USA member, Morgan just snuck her out in the last match, and now she comes back this year, bounces back, and wins the Sean Yonan Memorial Girls Championship and that $1,000 scholarship.
That was so clean off the hand, and it's funny how the pins fall when it's clean off your hand, even on a less than perfect pocket hit.
Absolutely.
Why is it?
I don't know why. When you're throwing it good and have it going, it's one of those things where you're throwing it good, the pins fall over. When you're not throwing it good and you're still hitting the pocket, you can't buy a strike. It's kind of weird. People say it all the time, like the pins know if you throw it good or not.
That was good off the hand, but evidently not good enough. But 9 in a 218, and that's a pretty solid game on this.
Yeah.
After a fine 216 game the game before.
Yeah, 8 strikes in that game with 2 opens. That's very solid.
And to bounce back from those 2 opens too is the best part. Mental outlook of a champion. Well, we'll see what Sara Michalowicz can do here to finish off strong. Still got a $190 out there. Once again, when it don't matter.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, we've all been there. You're close, but you're not quite comfortable on a given lane or pair, and it's all the difference in the world from striking and getting 9.
Yeah, it's from throwing it good and throwing it bad too. It's when you have 4 boards down lane or 5 boards down lane, it's easy to throw it good. When you feel you only have 1, it's really hard to throw the ball good. And, you know, especially the pressure she's under, it's hard to throw it good in the first place. You have good reaction.
And that looked great off her hand, yet she's got 8 spare.
Yeah, never picked up. And
right.
A spare here can give her 180. Still not a bad showing for second place at her today. I believe it's a $600 scholarship award for Sara to take home with her. And I'm sure she hasn't had too many of those big awards so far in her young bowling career.
$600 is $600.
That's 2 books nowadays in college for most kids. How about a spare on that 2-8? Nicely done. A great championship match, 218 for Stephanie Schwartz, 180 for Sara Michalowicz. The championship's in the books, and we'll be back to give some trophies and some scholarship money from Lakeshore Lanes to Sheboygan in just a moment, so make sure you stay tuned.
After 5 of 10 events, Nick Kreml and Stephanie Schwartz extend their High 5 Gear Player of the Year points lead. For bowling or golf, unique performance gear designed your way. High5gear.com. Barbier's Italian Inn, featured in onmilwaukee.com's In Search of the Perfect Pizza in January 2013. Near Miller Park on Blue Mound Road and on Milwaukee Avenue in South Milwaukee.
Well, another year of the Sean Yonan Memorials in the books, Keith. A phenomenal girls finals again. 44 of the best lady bowlers in Wisconsin and Illinois came to the tournament today. Another great showing. And what do you think about that final match?
Well, I have to tell you, I looked at Stephanie today, and I figured when she came back over here, she had the best chance to win. It's a long day for the ladies, and she really has the game to compete, so well done by her.
Absolutely. I think Tom's worried. Tom's hoping they bring a ladies tour back before these 2 young ladies get out there and have to challenge him on the PBA tour.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some good shot making there. Great ball choices. They actually did fantastic today. Yeah, absolutely. They keep running some tunes like that over here, so don't come see me on tour. I appreciate that.
Well, let's bring out our runner-up today, Sara Michalowicz. Come on out. You got a word from you from Tom Smallwood.
For $600.
And that $600 check. We're going to slide you over here because we're a little short on microphone cord here. So you want me to hold on that for you for a second?
Sure.
All right. Why don't you slide in a little closer here?
A little closer.
So last game, you kind of had a little over-under. You had a little 4-pin here, 10-pin there, that kind of thing. Yeah. But you stayed clean with it. Was it tough to not give up on your ball choice right there just because you were hitting the pocket?
I was trying my best to keep my ball as close to the pocket as possible. The lanes were definitely playing different for me here than they were there.
So your second trip up here to the Sean Yonan, first time on TV, what'd you think about the experience?
Well, the Sean Yonan last year, I loved it. I made the cut, and then I got nervous in the finals, but I made it as far as I could today. I tried my best, and it's definitely one of my favorite tournaments. And TV thing, I got to get used to, but it was definitely a good experience for me. It was good for me to learn and get that, I don't know, it's out of my system now, so hopefully next time I'll do much, much better.
Now you know what you're in for, and I'm sure Keith would love to have you and a lot of other female bowlers up here again next year, so thanks for bowling.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I'll give you that back.
Thank you.
And Keith, she was the runner-up last year. She's one of those ones where you knew she was going to make it back here eventually to a finals, and this year, right away, makes it back and gets herself the championship.
Yep, I tell you that she really brought the game this night. I went and saw her over at the other house to start, and I figured she was going to be back here when it all came down to it.
Our champion this year for the 2013 edition of the Sean Yonan Memorial Girls Division, Stephanie Schwartz. Stephanie, come on in. Tom Smallwood with your championship trophy.
I have a check for you for $1,000.
Thank you.
And a nice chunk of scholarship change. And Stephanie, last year you came off a second-place finish at high school state. Then you were here, another second-place finish. You've come back this year. You've had a pretty solid season, and to come back and win the Sean Yonan Memorial this year, what's the first thought that ran through your mind when you locked it up with that first strike in the 10th?
It felt really good. It was just a good feeling.
And now you got one up over your brother. I see your brother David standing back there, and now you got one up on him. He's going to have to come back next year and try to get his Sean Yonan title under his belt.
Yeah, he bowled well today, but unfortunately not as good as me.
Yep. And I would make sure you put that in a prominent place on the mantle in your home so you can always see it when he walks in.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll do that.
But congratulations, the $1,000 scholarship award, the championship trophy. Another great show here from Lakeshore Lanes. I want to thank Keith Yonan and the Yonan family for everything you do for youth bowling in memory of your son, Sean. Tom Smallwood, thanks for sitting in with us today on the telecast. Joey Cerar, he's here somewhere. We'll find him. He's back there. I'm Phil Brylow. Parents, always remember, take the kids bowling. They'll have fun for life.